Hey there, Latin 2. We're on chapter 36, a letter. The plot thickens. Cornelia is doing all kinds of cover story, or maybe she's had a psychotic break and she's writing to the friend that she killed. So let's look at the glossary and go over some of that stuff first, and then I will get into the math. There's actual math in Latin. So the first ones are actually above the glossary, and it's SD, which is salutem dicit, which means sends greetings, okay? It's says hello. And SPD is salutem plurimam dicit, sends the most greeting. In other words, sends fondest greetings, hugs and kisses. So there's SD and SPD. That's how you start letters, okay? And you usually do that to a dative because the greetings are the accusative, they're the direct object. So now let's get on to the glossary. Nonis Novembribus. Now this is the ablative plural, and it means on that special day, okay? On the nones of November, which is November 5th. We'll get into it, don't worry. Calendis Novembribus is on the special day that is November 1st, the calends. Calends is where we get calendar from. And it's one of two words that I've ever seen in Latin that have a K in them. So clearly it's Greek, which is really weird because the Greeks didn't have a calends for their calendar. It's just all kinds of confusing. Que, at the end of a word, turns it into and that thing. So now we have et, atque, and que. I feel like there's another one. Ac. And atque is really just acque, so and. So you have four ways of saying and. Okay. In fact, when you see people with SPQR tattoo, it's Senatus Populusque Roma, or Romana. So hook is adverbial, means to this spot, to here. Brundisii, we are going to get into that, I think, in the next chapter. Brundisii means at Brundisium. Predie takes the accusative, and it means the day before that day. So predie idus Octobres is the day before the Ides of October, which means it's October 14th. We'll get into it, don't worry. Viginti, Latin for 20. Adolescens, adolescentis is young man. Okay, so obviously it's where you get adolescent from. Let's see, moratus est, just translated exactly as it is. We'll get into it later. Regressus est, just translated exactly as it is. We'll get into it later. Idibus Novembribus, that's on that special day, on the Ides of November, which happens to be November 13th. Proficiscetur, he will set out, translated exactly as it is. This is a gift right now. We'll get into it. Ante diem tertium calendas decembres. On the third day before the calends of December. So that's November 29th, and we'll get into that later. Libenter is an adverb that just means gladly. A lot of people say freely, but it's not that. I know it looks like liberty, but it means gladly. I think people take libations and they get happy. Rursus means again. It's just one of those words that you need to memorize. Sane means of course. Of course any sane person would know that. Turn the page. Qui homines means which men or those men. It's not the question version, it's talking about them. Secuti sunt means they followed. Okay, so they followed. It's a gift, just go with it. Conatus est, he tried, take it as a gift. Quo calerius eo calerius. So you notice calerius here is a comparative adverb. So quo eo is the this, the more of this, okay? So the faster he did this, the faster they responded. That's how that works. Tristis, tristis, triste means sad. I know that in Spanish it's related, but I know nothing in English. Sorry. And cis is actually how you say please, and it's a syncopation, or it's an enclitic version of si vis, which is if you wish. So if you wish, or if it pleases you. That's another way to do it is si tibi placet, if it pleases you. And that, after 36 chapters, is how you say please. Persuadeo, persuadere, persuasi, persuasum. you are going to persuade a dative of an accusative. So I'm going to persuade this pen to you. In other words, I'm going to persuade you to use this pen. So to make something agreeable to someone is really what it is, okay? And it actually, if you notice, suadeo, right? We saw suavis. So to make something sweet or pleasing to someone, to persuadeo is to make it very pleasing, to make it thoroughly pleasing to someone, okay? In the next video, I will go over actually the grammar of it all. And so familiarize yourself with the days, or with the months of the year. It's on page 89. All of them are adjectives, and they should all look really, really familiar because that's where we get all the names of all of our months, okay? It's interesting, actually, Januarius and Februarius, those were added in. Januarius is the doorway month. Februarius is the fever month because it's winter and people get sick. Martius is the Mars month. Aprilis is when flowers open. Maius is a month named after a titan. Junius is the month of June, Juno. Julius and Augustus used to just be Sextilis and Quintilis and Sextilis, but then they got shoved down a couple, and then September was, so it used to be Quintilis is the 5th month, Sextilis is the 6th month. They were real creative, and then they did September, October, November, December, the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month, the 10th month. So they only named a few months after gods and stuff like that. But then Caesar, when he was the high priest of Rome, he looked around and he saw that the calendars were wildly off, and he knew that he had to put 2 months in there to shove space over. The months didn't get named after him and his nephew until after his nephew had died. So it was January, February, March, April, May, June, 6th, 7th, or 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, even though shoving everything down meant that the 7th, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th months were off by 2. Kind of fun. And then the word underneath that, you see consul, consulis, which is a consul. That's the highest executive office you could have in Rome. And then underneath that, you see ab urbe condita, which means from the founding of the city. And that's how they measured their years, and I'll get into that later. And condo, condra, condidi, conditum, which means to found. Not like, oh, look, I found a quarter, but like, I'm founding a city. Okay, so it's condominium, comes from that. So there you go. The rest of it I will discuss in the grammar lessons. All right, I'm going to hit the button.